Hello everyone, my name is Muon and welcome to the third installment in my How to Crochet for Absolute Beginners series. In my first video, we discussed these topics. And in my second video, we discussed these topics. If you find that any of these subjects are totally new to you, or you're kind of rusty, or you just haven't quite gotten the hang of them yet, then I highly recommend going back to watch the first video, the second video, or maybe even both of them, because I'm not going to be going into a lot of depth in this video about those older topics. Rather, I'm only going to very quickly, very briefly recap the ones that overlap with the topics that I'm going to be discussing today. Those are going to be the double crochet, which is called the treble crochet in the UK, the triple crochet, which is called the double treble, and then finally, I'm going to be talking about how you can do the quadruple crochet, the quintuple crochet, and on and on and on and on into infinity. As per usual, we are going to start off with a slip knot and a foundation chain. If either of those things are kind of hard to follow or you're unfamiliar, again, please watch those other two videos because I'm going to go pretty fast. Okay, so grab our two crabby fingers, tail end, draped over, grab the tail, and then make an X over the ball end of the yarn, two crabby fingers, grab the ball end of the yarn, pull through this loop, tail, pulls tight, 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 and then we put our hook in, ball end of the yarn, we pull, 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 until the slip knot is not too loose, not too tight, but just right. Now, in order to set up our hand, we go over the pinky, under the pinky, up, behind these three fingers, and then we're going to grab with whichever fingers are comfortable for you, but I use my thumb and my middle finger, grab the base of the stitch. And to do a chain stitch, we're going to yarn over clockwise, pull through the loop, and pull up the loop onto our hook. And I'm just going to do this maybe 8 times. So if you recall from the last video that I did, a single crochet has the same width as a double crochet, but a double crochet is twice the height of a single crochet. Now, this is how things come into effect. Let's say I were to do a single turning chain as I do when I single crochet, or I slip stitch, or I even half double crochet, right? I'm going to just sort of pull this up so you can see that there's this line that is created in a 90-degree corner. Now, if the next stitch that I do is a double crochet, I'm going to have something that is twice the height next to something that is half the height. And because of this height difference, what we're going to have is a bit of a lopsided surface, right? So a single crochet and a single chain both are going to be the same height. Therefore, or same height and width, therefore, having a single crochet and a single turning chain is fine because there's a level surface. Now, what some people do to solve this problem is they'll do 2 chains as a turning chain, right? Because this is the same height as a double crochet, therefore you would maintain that smooth surface. And to go a little further, there are people who either A, use this chain 2 as a substitute for an actual double crochet because the heights are the same, and they'll just sort of, let's say because I have 8 chains and 2 are being used for this chain, so I'll have 6 along here, then they'll have 7 total stitches later on because they'll count this chain 2 as a double crochet. There are other people who don't count this chain 2 as a double crochet, they just use it as a turning chain, and they'll have 6 stitches because they're going to do another stitch and they're just going to ignore the fact that this chain 2 exists. Now, the first solution has some problems in that the width of the stitch is just not equivalent to the width of the single crochet or the double crochet, because the chain, what we have essentially done is taken the width and flipped it and made that length. Right? The length becomes the width and the width becomes the length. I don't know if that makes any sense, but essentially it's just not as wide. And this can create gapping along the sides of our pieces. Now, what happens when we don't use the chain 2 as a replacement for a double crochet? What happens is that we don't have as much gapping, but we do have a kind of lumpy bumpy outline on the side, right? Because we have a bit of a protrusion is what I guess I could call it. So how do we get around this problem? Or rather, how do I get around this problem? So instead of doing a turning chain of 2, what I just do is a turning chain of 1. And so I know that's going to sound a bit confusing based on all the things I just said, but let me just quickly show you first. So we skip the first chain from the hook, and we're actually going to do not a double crochet, but a single crochet into that back spinal bump if you are like me and you prefer it that way, or wherever else you want to do it, right? We're going to do a single crochet. And now we have only half the height of a double crochet. So what do? We're actually going to do another single crochet into this single crochet that we've done so that we have 2 singles stacked on top of each other to equal both the height and the width of a double, right? So what we do, instead of not going into this space, because that would actually be increasing, which I'll talk about in another video, what we do is we have these 2 loops here, right? One that is closer to my hook, one that is closer to my tension or my ball yarn, right? And I'm going to be taking this hook and I'm going to go under that loop that is closer to the ball yarn or away from the hook, right? Or if you want to think about it as the loop that is closest to me, the loop that is furthest from me, I'm going to go into the loop that is furthest from me. Right. Now we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop through that one loop that we just kind of stabbed under. And we should have 2 loops on our hook now. And now we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And now we have 2 single crochets stacked on top of each other. They're approximately the same width and the same height as a double crochet. I'm going to show you one more time so that it's kind of clearer, right? So I have my turning chain, and like normal, I'm going to go into the spine and make a single crochet. Now that I have my single crochet, I have these 2 sort of bumps in the stitch. One is closer to me, one is further away from me, and I'm going to stab into the one that is further away from me, and I'm going to yarn over and pull up through that loop. And now I have 2 loops on the hook, and now I'm going to yarn over and pull through both. And I have 2 single crochets stacked on top of each other, again equal to the width and equal to the height of a double crochet. And now we're actually going to learn how to double crochet. So to double crochet, we are actually kind of doing what we did when we half double crochet. So we are going to yarn over counterclockwise so that the yarn is kind of wrapped around the hook. Again, yarn over counterclockwise. So we're kind of going under and then over so that we have this loop. Now we're going to go into the spine, then yarn over clockwise to grab our yarn, pull through the spine, and you should have 3 loops on your hook. Now when we half double crochet, now we just kind of pull through all 3 loops. But when we double crochet, what we do is we're going to yarn over clockwise, pull through 2 loops only, and now we have 2 loops on our hook. And now we're going to yarn over again clockwise and pull through 2 more loops. This is a double crochet because we kind of almost single crocheted twice, if that makes any sense, or we yarned over twice. I'm going to show you another time. We're going to yarn over counterclockwise to grab our yarn and have that loop. Again, counterclockwise, down, out, up. And then we're going to go into the spine. Sometimes I like to use my index finger to sort of get it through there. And now we yarn over clockwise, grab our yarn, pull through the spine loop. Now we have 3 loops on our hook. Instead of pulling through all 3, we are going to yarn over clockwise, pull through 2 loops. And now we're going to yarn over pull through 2 more loops. That's another double crochet. All right, show you another time. Going to yarn over counterclockwise, go into the loop, and we're going to stab through. Need a little more yarn. And we're going to yarn over clockwise, pull through the loop, pull up a loop, and then I guess I forgot to mention it earlier, but you want to make sure all your loops are kind of uniform in height. And then we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and then pull through 2. That's a double crochet again, and I'm going to show you again. A little faster. And yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over counterclockwise, stab through, yarn over clockwise, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, and the last time. Okay, now we're at the end. What did we do? Kind of basically the same thing we did when we started. We'll chain 1, or in some cases for some people they'll chain 2, or maybe even 3 if they find that they like that height more, but I like to chain 1, turn my work, and I do 1 single crochet into the first stitch. Remember, you can go into any of the loops, but if you want a standard stitch, you go under both loops or go under the V, right? I'm going to single crochet, and then I'm going to go into the loop that is further away from me, stab through, and then I'm going to yarn over clockwise, pull up a loop, pull through 2. Bam. So that's technically my first double crochet for this row. Now I'm going to quickly get to the end so I can show you a problem that sometimes people have. Okay, so I am at the very last stitch. And a problem that people sometimes have is increasing while they're using this technique. Because we did 2 single crochets on top of each other, what we find is that we have 2 V's here, right? But they're actually counted as 1 unit, 1 double crochet. But since we're so accustomed to working into V's, we see these 2 V's and we think, oh, I must have 2 more double crochets left. But actually, we only have the 1. But because we're looking at the tops of 2 single crochets, it can be a bit deceptive. So if you need a stitch marker when you're starting, you can just put a stitch marker, or you can sort of just keep in mind or remember that there's 2 V's at the end, but only one of them is really the top of that unit. So I'm going to double crochet into that top one. If you have even more trouble still, you can just count each row to see that or make sure that you have the same number of stitches, and then you'll avoid either increasing or decreasing or anything like that. Moving on to the triple crochet. So sort of like with the double crochet, what some people will do is they'll have a turning chain that is made up of as many chains as is equal to the height of the stitch that they're trying to achieve. So in this case, if I want to do a triple crochet, someone might do a chain 3 as a turning chain to either substitute or have that equal height, right? But as I mentioned before with the double crochet, that is not my preferred method because it leaves either lumps or bumps or, just holes, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to turn our work towards us, and we are going to make 1 single crochet like we did before. And just as with the double crochet, we're going to stack a single crochet on top of this one by going into the loop that is away from us. Again, not this stitch that we've already worked into, but the loop of the single crochet itself, right? We're going to yarn over clockwise, pull up a loop, and we have 2 loops on our hook, and then we're going to pull through both of them. And because we want to essentially equal to the height of a triple crochet, which is 3 times the height of a single crochet, we're actually going to stack on 1 more, right? So go into the loop that is part of the stitch but away from us, not the first stitch that we have already gone into, but the one on top that we just built, right? And we're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2. And that is our triple crochet substitute, essentially, right? Notice how it's 1, 2, 3 times the height of a single crochet. Okay, so now we're actually going to start our triple crochet. Now I accidentally went into another stitch when I was trying to record this before, so just make sure that you're going into the next chain as opposed to the same stitch. So I'm actually going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And this counts as 7 because we have that turning chain that we're saying goodbye to, right? So we're going into the 7th chain, and what we do is we are going to take our hook and we're going to yarn over clockwise like we did before. So down, out, up. And we have this incomplete loop on our hook. And now we're actually going to do that one more time. So down, out, up. We're going to have 1 loop, 2 loops, and then 3 loops, with the third being the incomplete loop. And we are going to carefully take everything. If it helps, you can put your finger sort of on the loops so they don't come off. And then we're going to go into that back spine. Wiggle, wiggle. All right. We're going to yarn over clockwise, pull up a loop. And now we have 4 loops on our hook. What we're going to do is we're going to yarn over clockwise and pull through only 2 of those loops. And then we're going to pull through 2 again. Oh, they all fell off. All right, that's okay. I can make it come back. All right, pull through 2 again. Carefully, because you don't want what happened to you to happen, or rather what happened to me to happen to you, but if it does, it's okay, you can fix it just like I did. We have 2 loops on our hook now, and we're going to pull through 2. See how these 2, the starting stitch and this first stitch are the same in height? That's why we do that. And actually, we count this stitch as an entire triple crochet on its own. So we're going to actually end up having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches, right? So I'm going to show you how to do the triple crochet again, right? We're going to go counterclockwise, down, out, up, 1 time, and then counterclockwise, down, out, up, another time. 3 loops on the hook. Go into the next back spine, yarn over clockwise, pull up a loop, 4 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2, leaving 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2, leaving 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and you have that 1 loop. And we have 3 triple crochets, and I'm going to just do that again. Clockwise or counterclockwise, down, out, up, counterclockwise, down, out, up. Hold on to everything, go into the back spine, yarn over clockwise, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And again. Or down, out, up, down, out, up. Remember, counterclockwise, go through the back spine, yarn over clockwise, pull up a loop, 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and again. Oh, I didn't yarn over enough. Okay, so down, out, up, counterclockwise, go through the spine. All right, and we go clockwise, pull through 2, pull through 2. Oh, I missed it again. Pull through 2. So we don't want to make it when our tension too tight, because what ends up happening is, at least in my case, I kind of miss the first loop and then the whole thing falls off. So just got to be careful with how tight or how loose your tension is, because it can make it, more difficult to work. And I'll just do the last one real quick so you can see the final result. right. So, as you might be able to see, with these taller stitches, there is more space between each stitch. That's because if this was a single crochet, we would be kind of locking them together each row. This would have been 3 rows, but instead it's 1 row of a really tall stitch as opposed to 3 rows of a really short stitch, right? Which is why, you know, the taller stitches can be more, I guess, more airy, more useful for, again, summer clothing, things that you want to have a lot of space and a lot of holes. As you might have observed, when we had the double crochet, we had 2 stitches stacked on top of each other. Then when we had the triple crochet, we had 3 stitches stacked on top of each other. And when we were actually working the stitches themselves, we yarned over counterclockwise once for the double crochet, and then counterclockwise twice for the triple crochet. So essentially how it works is if I want a quadruple crochet, I'll stack 3 or 4 single crochets on top of each other for that first chain, and then I will be yarning over 3 times, right? And then if I want a quintuple crochet stitch, then I'll have 5 single crochets stacked on top of each other, right? And then I will yarn over 4 times. So when we're doing that turning chain in that first sort of stitch, right, we're going to do however many height or however tall or however many times the height of a single crochet that stitch is, that number, that's the number of single crochets you're going to stack on top of each other. And then to do the stitch itself, basically we take that number, subtract 1, and that's the number of times we are going to be doing the counterclockwise yarn over and pull through and pull through and pull through and pull through, right? I'm just going to show you the quadruple crochet as an example, but once you get that down, you can just kind of do as tall of a stitch as you want. You're just going to have fewer points of connection between what would have been rows, if that makes any sense. So like with the triple crochet, right, we would have had 3 rows and therefore connections in those spots, but instead we had just 1 stitch that was that height. Therefore, there's a lot of space between each stitch, right? Just to keep that in mind. Again, if you want something airier, you know, maybe that's a solution for you. All right, so we're going to turn our work. We're going to do a single crochet. All right. And then we have 1 single crochet. We're going to stack another single crochet, so that's 2. Then we're going to stack again to make 3, and because I want a quadruple crochet, we're going to stack again to make 4. So that would be the height of our quadruple crochet. Now to do the actual stitch, we're going to yarn over counterclockwise, down, out, up 1 time, down, out, up 2 times, down, out, up 3 times. So we actually end up having 4 loops on our hook. Then we're going to put our hook through the back spine, and we are going to yarn over clockwise, pull through, pull up a loop, and we're going to have 5 loops on our hook, right? And then we are going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Notice how I said yarn over, pull through 2 4 times. So we're essentially having 4 stitches. 4 stitches tall, 4 stitches tall, 1 stitch wide. And that's how you would do a quadruple crochet. So just to recap, if I wanted a quintuple crochet, I want it to be 5 times the height of a single crochet. Therefore, when I'm doing my first stitch after my chain, I'm going to stack 5 stitches on top of each other. But when I'm yarning over, I'm going to yarn over counterclockwise 4 times. So 5 minus 1 equals 4. And this is because you already have a loop on your hook already that you kind of pulled up, and in total that would be 5. But you're making 4 more to add to that 1 to create 5, right? Then we're going to be essentially yarn over pulling through 2 5 times, right? So then we have a height of 5. If I wanted to do a 18 times the height of a single crochet stitch, then I would do a stack of 18 stitches, and then I would yarn over counterclockwise 17 times. So that way you can kind of do however tall of a stitch you want. Okay, that was all for today's video. I hope that you were able to follow everything and that you got something out of it. I've been Muon, and I will be wishing you all of the happiness in the world. Hope you have a good day!